Jade occupies a very precious position in Chinese culture, such that Chinese name their god as Emperor Jade God. So I would try to bring this topic at this time. My father loved gems, but I don't. So in my life, I never put much attention on them. Neither on jade. Therefore, I can't talk about it a lot. Sorry. China identified
秀妍玉
or
秀妍
jade as the world's earliest jade in the archaeological discovery of
兴隆洼
culture, about 8,000 years ago, in
辽东
Peninsula. Also regarded as the oldest archaeological findings of jade are
第一村
or first village, or
黄山
site of
独山
jade carvings, around 7,000 BC, in
南阳河南
province.
河姆渡
Culture, around 4,500 BC, in
余姚浙江
province.
红山
Culture, era 4,000 to 8,000 years ago, in
辽河
river basin, Yellow River, and so on. The earliest usage of jade were
玉璧
or
璧
jade,
玉月
or
月
jaden,
玉琮
or
琮
jade,
玉璧
is of flat perforated disc with a hole in the center.
玉月
Is of large flat block with double hole drilled, one large back hole and one small end hole, all of which are drilled on one side.
玉琮
Is of hollow cylinder tube or truncated cone enclosed in a square exterior body, which varies from squat to tall. The outer surface is usually decorated with lines or abstracts on the planar surfaces and horizontal segments at the corners. Jade from
红山
culture is more characterized by animal-shaped and round. The jade craftsman was skillful in depicting the objects in a resemblance using few knives. The ancient jade of
红山
mountain did not aim at greatness in size. There is also a record of the use of jade in Japan from the early Jomon era, around 5000 BC to 4000 BC. Jade work after 2500 BC of
良渚
culture in southern
江苏
and northern
浙江
provinces, 3400 BC to 2200 BC, is already sophisticated. The very fine lines from
夏
dynasty jade work even cannot be replicated nowadays without using metal tools. It was also found the very famous 7-hole jade knife from
夏
dynasty. There is a famous jade story of spring and autumn period, 770 BC to 476 BC, which came from many old books, so people believed it is a history, although a dramatized one. However, due to some basic details inconsistencies here and there in the historical records, some historians believe it is just a story. In around 700 BC in
楚
state,
汴河
who lived near
玉印岩
in
金乡坪
village,
湖北
province,
玉印岩
is also known as
抱朴岩汴河
saw a pair of phoenixes landed from time to time on the Phoenix Terrace across the river. After chirping 3 times, they either flew away or into the cave. There was a saying that, phoenix does not land onto a place with no treasure. So, one day he followed the phoenixes into the cave and found a stone that looked differently from the others. He brought back the stone and his grandpa confirmed him if it was a very precious stone. The family decided to present it to the king to boost the state prestige. King
Li
asked the palace jade expert to access, but the expert said if it was just an ordinary stone. So King
Li
was angry to be cheated and cut the right foot of.
汴河
When King
Wu
ascended the throne,
汴河
presented again the stone, but the expert once again said that it was an ordinary stone, so King
Wu
cut the left foot of.
汴河
After King
文
enthroned with carrying the stone,
卞和
cried for 3 whole days until his tear turned into blood. King
文
was touched, so he asked a crafter to cut the stone, and the jade emerged. King
文
then named the jade as
和氏璧
or
和氏
jade, after the name of.
卞和
It turned out that
和氏璧
was a perfect flawless jade, the only ever existed. So it became a national treasure of
楚
state. When
楚
had a marriage relationship with
赵
state,
和氏璧
moved to
赵
as a dowry. In 283 BC, King
昭襄
of
秦
state proposed
赵
to exchange 15 cities for
和氏璧秦
was much stronger than
赵
and
赵
indeed needed these cities, but M
赵
was afraid if it was only a trick of
秦
to confiscate
和氏璧
after it arrived in.
秦
So King
惠文
of
赵
sent
蔺相如
to bring the jade. King
昭襄
did not accept it properly
蔺相如
as a state messenger. After the jade was on his hands, King
昭襄
ignored the presence of
蔺相如
so
蔺相如
said that actually the jade was not flawless and only with meticulous examination we could see it. When King
昭襄
asked
蔺相如
to show the flaw,
蔺相如
asked the jade to be able to show it. Once
蔺相如
grasped the jade, he stepped back and stood next to the room pillar. He was extremely angry such that his hair stood up raising his hat. People figured out this event with an idiom of
怒发冲冠
or very angrily such that the hair thrusts the hat. With his most anger, he threatened King
昭襄
to smash his own head against the pillar together with the jade. He said that originally King
惠文
and the ministers thought that King
昭襄
was just going to deceive the jade. But after listening to his advice, King
惠文
fasted for 5 days before sending the sacral jade here. King
昭襄
then apologized and would also fast for 5 days before receiving the sacral jade.
蔺相如
Took this opportunity secretly to send back the jade to
赵
People figured out this event with an idiom of
完璧归赵
or returning the jade completely and perfectly to
赵
Chinese idioms are quite unique that may deviate from Western common understanding. Please refer to my video number B019 for more clarification on Chinese idioms. After
秦
unified China, 221 BC,
和氏璧
finally fell into
秦
it was said that the prime minister
李斯
used the jade for the emperor seal with a tiger button, a dragon, fish and phoenix button carving, and engraved with 8 letters,
受命于天既寿永昌
or, under God commandment, long live and prosper, and with such inscriptions, without specified for a certain dynasty. The seal became the symbol of the highest throne in China, granted by God, passed from one dynasty to the next. When
刘邦
conquered
秦
in 207 BC, the emperor seal was handed to him. When
王莽
coup
汉
dynasty, 9 AD, he forced the empress dowager to surrender the emperor seal. To fail the coup, she smashed the seal on the ground, but the seal just suffered a bit broken on a corner, and emperor
王莽
then covered the broken part with gold. At the beginning of the Three Kingdom period, 220 to 280,
孙坚
led his army into the palace to rescue the emperor
献
of
汉
from a coup. His soldiers saw a colorful radiant from a well in the palace and they found the emperor's seal.
孙坚
Hid the seal with his wife, but
袁术
detained her and seized the seal. After the death of
袁术徐求
returned the seal to the emperor.
献
In 220,
曹丕
overthrew
汉
and established
魏
dynasty. He engraved the shoulder of the emperor's seal with
大魏受汉传国玺
or, the Great,
魏
received the emperor's seal of
汉
After passing several dynasties, in 329, Emperor
石勒
usurped
前赵
dynasty and established
后赵
dynasty. He engraved the right side of the emperor's seal with
天命实事
or God commandment on
石
surname. Finally, when
后唐
dynasty collapsed in 936, Emperor
李从珂
and his concubine self-immolated in the palace and all the objects in the palace were burnt. A story tells that a farmer in the time of King
哲宗
Song dynasty found the jade seal while plowing his fields and sent it to the palace. The scholars examined it and confirmed if it was the lost emperor's seal. But it was lost again when
Jin
forces got into the palace, and the emperor's seal never appeared again since then. Let's go back to the subject of common jade. In the beginning of
Han,
some forms of jade could already made in a larger scale of production but in a lower quality finish. Some flaws and impurities in the jade were also incorporated as the parts of the work. Culture of
Tang
dynasty, 618 to 907, did not like jade ware, but it was popular that people ate jade. Under the influence of immortal thoughts and Taoist alchemy techniques, jade seeking and eating reached a crazy level. The ceremonial concept of the artistic value of early jade articles disappeared at this time.
花形镂雕
Or flower-shaped jade pendant of
北宋
dynasty, 960 to 1127.
玉荷叶杯
Or lotus leaf cup jade, of
南宋
dynasty, 1127 to 1279. And
春水玉
or spring water jade and
秋山玉
or autumn mountain jade of Jurchen are masterpieces representing the level of jade carving in these periods.
苏州
Was the center of jade carving in
Ming
dynasty, 1368 to 1644. There was a saying in society of
良玉虽极精师，工巧则推苏郡
or although fine jade were collected in the capital, the craftsmanship promotes
苏州。明
dynasty and
清
dynasty, 1644 to 1912, were the heyday of Chinese jade. The jade wares were in a variety of styles. Tea and wine utensils were popular. My video number B001 showed at a glance the famous type of
清
jade work,
玉如意
a sculpture of
大禹治水
or the Great Yu controls the water carved over 7 years in 1787 is the largest ever jade work today. It is 224 centimeters tall, 96 centimeters wide and about 6 tons. My video number D006 details the background on the Great Yu controls the water. Currently, the resource of jade in China has been depleted, and Myanmar supplies about 70% of jade around the world with a bit higher hardness index than those from China. To prolong the duration of this video, I have put in the story of
和氏璧
Sorry. And I hope you enjoyed it as I did it the first time I heard it. Thank you for watching.